Bonnie, are you there? Hello, good morning, Savani. Savani, are you there? Hello? Hello, hello. I think I can hear your background noise, Savani.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I thought I was muted.
I unmuted you.
Oh, okay. Well, good morning. I was typing.
Well, you are the only person who has come to office hours, so I thought we would have an actual conversation instead of having me read your typing. That would be
Okay,
more.
perfect. That's great.
So,
Okay.
tell me where are you in the world?
I'm actually in Massachusetts,
Oh, where in Massachusetts?
Lowell.
Ah, Lowell, I know it well. So just a little bit north of here. We could have met in person
I know, I know.
next time.
Um, um, so, okie dokie. So, like, I know I missed Saturday office hours. So I wasn't sure, like, how they work, and so today I really wanted to be here. It's just to make sure that I didn't miss out on anything. I feel that so far the course has been very helpful. I think specifically on the reading parts, I really like how you read and how you break down the paragraphs. That's been very helpful, and I feel like I'm getting a lot more answers correct.
Great, that's great.
Yeah, I still like, the fill in the blanks where you have to pick the vocab, that sort of kills me every time. But, I think that is something that if I learn the vocab, I'll get it. But the other ones with trying to, what is it, the main idea questions, I think I'm getting a lot better at those. So I'm really happy so far.
Great, that's really great to hear, and I hope we're able to teach you a system and some real strategies instead of how a lot of smart people, bless them, a lot of smart people teach it by saying, well, you just pick what sounds right, and that's someone who, good for them that they know it so well, but that's not a good thing that you're not actually teaching if you're just showing off. So I hope I'm actually teaching you.
No, it's been very helpful, and as you can tell, English is not my first language, so a lot of the times I'm like, it still doesn't sound right to me anyway, so that strategy never really works for me,
Yeah.
because, it really, for me, it really has to make sense, because sounding right, it's just, all of them don't sound right sometimes, so.
Yeah, I would not have been able to tell. You speak native English. I would not have been able to tell that that's not your first language. It's perfect.
Thank you.
Not perfect.
Perfect.
So what can I do? So where are you starting? Have you taken a practice test? And
I did. Yeah, I did. I forget. I took the jury, and I didn't do. I'm trying to remember my scores, but they were in stellar. So I have to. I can look for them, and I can let you know what they were.
that would be great. If you can send me an email, I promise I'd give you my personal email. Is just my last name, Maltzer, Maltzer, @gmail.com.
Yeah, you did give it to us last class, so I did have it written down.
Okay.
So I just, I didn't want to overuse your email address, but okay, then I will definitely.
Please do. Everyone else does, so you go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I have been doing the homework, and I guess there were a couple of questions that, I followed the strategies that you suggested, going back, redoing the problem before reading what the answers were, and most of them I was able to go back, and I'm like, okay, I was able to get without looking at the answers the second time, but there were two questions that I didn't get when I went back the second time, so I sort of highlighted those to be able to see if I could just go back to those at some point. So I was wondering maybe I could go over those with you.
Sure, great.
Okay, alrighty. But those are in the GRE, in the book. So do you have the book with you, or how do you want to?
I don't have it with me, so if you generally I ask people to either take a a photo of the page that they're having trouble with, and then
Okay.
email it to me. Or you can, or if you do it on the web, or if you do it on the Ready4 app, I can just look it up in my materials. But if you do it from the official GRE book, I do not have that with me here in Boston, so you can either describe it to me or you can email a picture of it to me.
I can take a picture, like would it work if I do it right now, or?
Yeah, that would be great. I can get it. I can just
Okay. All right. So let me take a quick picture and send this to you.
Oh, that was not you.
Okay, so this was.
And then in the future, go ahead and send it ahead. If you come to office hours and you can send it ahead of time, then we can just jump straight in.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Now I know.
but it's good. I'm glad you came. No one else came, so.
Well, that's good. I'm sure a private tutoring lesson is super expensive, so I got to take advantage of this.
This is a $250 value for you right now, for free.
Absolutely.
It's like half the.
All right. So, and your Maltzer.
Maltzer. Mal.
Oh, I had a nice try. Okay. At gmail.com. Okay. It is, I just sent it.
Okay. There it is.
Yeah. This morning I was debating whether or not going to the gym, and I was like, no, I'm like, I need to work on this first.
So, Bonnie, this is the mental gym.
Absolutely. That's what, I was trying to do, and I think I made the right decision.
The right decision, $250 value at the mental gym.
Absolutely.
Private trainer. Okay, so I got these questions. The unexplained digressions into the finer points of quantum electric. They're just using big words to try to throw you. But the unexplained digressions into the whatever. Are so blank that even readers with a physics degree would be wise to keep a textbook handy to make sense of them. So what's your preface before you go into the answer choices?
Let me read it again because I did it last weekend. So this big regarding taxes could affect trade between the two countries much more than the blank banana imports, which has been ongoing for years. Unfortunately, the trade regulators seem to be ignoring both disagreements. So, at the beginning, like, so for part A, I was thinking of like treaty or something like that, or contract.
So what?
So for the first blank, I was thinking maybe like the contract, the treaty, there's something like that. I think that's what I was thinking, and I think that's where I went wrong.
The treaty? Are we looking at the same thing? This is section 4.1.
Which question are we looking for?
You sent me question section 4, number 1.
Oh, okay, that's the second question. Let me go back. Look at that. Okay, let me go back. I was looking at the wrong other question. So, I was thinking of so complex.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right. That's a great preface. That's a great thought. So then let's look at what we have. A, uninteresting. Is that complex?
No.
Also, what's the other part of the sentence that helps you a little bit here?
Well, it says that that even that it'd be wise to keep a textbook handy to make sense of it. So I guess that it's confused. Like, so I figured maybe it was confusing, like one of the words. Like, if it needs to make sense of it, it must be confusing.
Right, complex or confusing. Okay, so is uninteresting complex or confusing?
No.
No, it's really not. But I'll keep it in the champion slide because it's the best so far. How about B, controversial?
I don't think they are controversial. Like to me, that I think for this one, none of them made sense to me, so I just picked sort of one. But
Well, but this is a terrible strategy that you're using because first of all, you picked the one that meant the exact opposite of the thing that you thought you wanted, and that's always going to be wrong. Like you're just like, well, I can't decide, so let's drive straight into the intersection. I don't know if I'm going to go left or right, so I'm just going to go straight to the intersection. Just stop.
I guess
You
I
get
guess.
hit by a car. Yeah, you got run over. So don't do that. Let's use a different method. How about the champion slot method, where we
Okay.
try which is better, A or B?
Controversial, uninteresting. I would say B is better than A.
B is better than A. Okay, so controversial. All right, and so now unsophisticated versus controversial.
I would still say, I guess, B, because
Yeah,
unsophisticated means that we don't know enough about it.
right.
So, and it,
Unsophisticated means simple. It means
hmm
simple. So
yeah,
exact opposite of what you want. It's definitely
yeah.
not. Okay, so how about B versus D? Controversial versus frustrating. Which is better?
Um,
Put them each in the blank and then read
are so
that.
frustrating. Well, actually, I think I would go for D more
I
than
think
B.
I think D beats B, and then D versus E.
D for sure.
Yeah, D definitely beats E, and that's right. That's it.
Okay.
It is D.
All right.
So obviously, it would be better if they had complex or complicated or confusing. But then that would be an easy test, and that's not what the test is. So they're going to give you something that's a little off in left field, and then you have to figure out what's close.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've been using the champion. What is it that? What do you call that method?
Count the champions slot because there's only one slot, there's only one right answer, and only
Hmm.
one answer choice can go in that slot at any given time, and so it's just pairwise comparison. I think I gave you the analogy last week that when you go to the optometrist or you go for glasses, they don't say, "Here's a lens. Can you see?" They,
Hmm.
they say, "Here's a lens. Is this better or is this better? Is this better or is this better?" And they like kind of switch the lenses out.
Hmm.
And they do that over and over again, and that's an easier way to get the right answer. Because if you ask someone, "Can you see?" they're going to say, "Kind of, maybe," but if you say, "Which is better, this or this?" they're going to have one answer.
Okay.
It's
So,
clear and fast.
so like this would be helpful too, I assume, because if I was down to like only two answers, even if I didn't know the meaning for
Yeah.
one of them, and if I could just eliminate one of them, I guess I would get my right answers, or at least I would have a 50-50 chance of getting that question correct if I was
Right,
using
and then you'll move faster. That's the other thing is it really saves time because the
it.
time test. And you don't want to be hemming and hawing between two answer choices for 30 seconds. You need to make a decision. So
Okay.
that's a it's a big part of the test.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Then I should have gotten to the question, like, because I'm like, I know what all um, the vocab wasn't hard in this question. It was just that, for me, I think I couldn't find something
Right.
close to what I was expecting, so I think that kind of threw me off.
That's right. No, that's but you have to remember that's the point. that's the whole point of the test. It's not like, oh, they didn't really write this one as well as they could have, or maybe something was wrong with me on this one. The whole point of the test is you're going to pre-phrase something logical, and then they're not going to have that at all in the answer choices. But
Yeah.
there's something else that will work, and knowing that your answer choice was complex will let you avoid things that are really far away. So like simple. Like it should have allowed you to avoid unsophisticated, but I understand people choose that because it had the word sophisticated in it. And I've done that in my weaker moments when I was first training for the PSAT and the SAT. So the champion slot method and the pre-phrase method, I always say, is a little bit like it's like drawing a bullseye. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So it's like, here's your. I'm a terrible, terrible drawer, by the way, in case you haven't noticed. So I'll do.
I see you drawing with the mouse, so that's always hard.
Not great. So here's you're just drawing a bullseye, and then what it will have is it'll have like, you want this, you want something right here, So, but that's not what they give you. They give you this, and then they give you this, and then they give you this, and then they give you this, and they give you this. Okay, and those are your answer choices. You have like D, B, A, E. Right? So if you do that, you're gonna get D. D is the only one. It's pretty clearly the closest one.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it wasn't exactly what you picked, you wanted this. But like when you pre-phrase, you have some idea. Because just imagine if you saw. If you saw this with no bullseye, if you just saw this, and you're like, which one do you pick? Like that's how most people do it. They're like, I have no idea. It's obviously not E, but like all these are kind of clustered near each other, and like so maybe my bullseye is here, is like centered here, or maybe the bullseye is centered here, or maybe they're moving around. So don't do this. Have a pre-phrase. Go into it and choose your own answer, and then use the champion slot method.
Okay, I'll try that. I'll be more careful when trying those out.
Yeah, I'm just here to help guide you towards strategies that really work. So my philosophy is always that you can use whatever strategy you want, and on any problem, and if you don't use my strategy, I'm not offended. You can do whatever you want, as long as you get it right. But if you get it wrong, then you have to use my strategy, because I know mine work. And other people are just like, I've had very stubborn students. They want to do it their own way, and that's and I tell them that's fine. I don't care how you get it, as long as you're getting it. But if you're missing it and you're using your strategy, you got to use mine. So I feel like you're a good learner. You adopt these strategies quickly, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. So I don't need to belabor this. So what else can I help you with? Oh, you had one more question, right?
I sent you 2 questions, yeah. But in the meantime, I looked at my scores. So for the quantitative reasoning, I got a 155, and for the verbal, I got a 149.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Okay.
And I didn't really prepare for that, so that was like, all right, I'm like, I really need to go back and do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, neither of those scores is high enough, but the quant is obviously a little bit better. But I would focus on verbal pretty hard the next few weeks.
Mm. I'm doing a lot better, I think. Even like the questions, like I could never really get them right when I'm doing like the Ready4 Jerry, the app. And I'm
Hmm.
doing a lot better. Like even in the textbook, like I can see, I'm getting most of them, I think, correct. So I'm happy with that.
Great,
I'm not
great to
guessing.
hear.
I was doing a lot of guessing and I couldn't really, I think, find a good strategy for breaking down the paragraphs. I was getting very nervous.
Hmm.
And I think my anxiety level is a little bit controlled.
Good. That's great. Well, that's like 90% of the battle right there is feeling confident and comfortable as you go into the questions. So speaking of confident and comfortable, let's do the second one, or what you
Okay.
had as the first one. The incipient blank regarding taxes, is that the one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the incipient blank regarding taxes could affect trade between the two countries much more than the blank, banana imports. What? Okay, blank banana imports, which has been going on for years. Okay, unfortunately, the trade regulators seem to be ignoring both disagreements. Okay, so what do you think?
So for the first one, I was thinking contract agreement treaty or something, and then for the second one, I was thinking, oh, the existing banana imports. But apparently that really didn't help me.
The what banana imports? The existing?
Existing, like yeah, they're already like in place banana imports. That's sort of what came to my mind.
Hmm. Did you read the second sentence?
I did, but I think like that was. I think once something like when I was reading this question, I think as soon as I was reading it, like that came to that's the first thing that popped into my mind, and then afterwards I had a hard time, I think, trying to like rethink of something else.
Okay.
So I'm telling you exactly what I thought when I read the
No, it's
question like the
helpful.
first
It's
time.
helpful. Yeah. Okay.
And I had a really hard time changing into something else. Like my brain did not want to like budge when it came to that.
Well, uh, let's make sure you hold off on filling in the blank until you read the entire thing. Like
Okay.
if I said, I love driving my blank, uh, comma, especially uh, when I, when all my other uh, three-wheeled mopeds are broken. So if you had said, I love driving my blank, you're going to put car in there, right? You're going to
Mm-hmm.
put like car. But then the rest of the sentence is when all my other three-wheeled mopeds are broken. So if you had put car in there, you're not like a little wrong. It's completely 100% wrong. So I say this because a lot of people are like, oh well, my instinct is pretty good. I'm just gonna stick with my gut. I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm just gonna keep with my gut because it's usually right. Your gut is terrible at standardized tests, and it's really quite bad at prephrasing unless you read the whole thing. So the whole thing, that second part of the sentence says, what's the word? What's the word that's using to describe both things?
So so the banana imports, which has been going on for years. Unfortunately, the trade regulators seem to be ignoring both disagreements. So it's a disagreement.
Disagreement. So there's no way that that blank is treaty. There's no
Yes.
way that it's treaty. That treaty is an agreement. Like this thing is the exact opposite of agreement. That's what's going on, right? So now let's see what we got. So it's obviously not a chord. It's
Yeah,
definitely
so that's like that, and that's the first thing that came to my head. And I was like, oh, it's an accord, even though it wasn't okay. And I know it's not an investigation. I don't
okay.
know what.
So a row is a disagreement.
Okay, so I figured, if I guess if I used the champion slot method, I would have known that it wasn't a court, and I definitely know it's not an investigation, so it must be the one that I don't know the meaning for.
You got it. Okay. And now the second blank also people like not agreeing. So what do we got?
So it's not D. Um,
Hmm.
then F, fester dispute over.
Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah, that's right. You got it.
Okay.
You are correct. You are correct AF, as they say.
Okay, yeah.
AF. The kids these days, they use this lingo, you know.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, I have difficulty with that. I'm like, I have regular American English is hard enough.
Tell me about it. It's weird, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, I think it's useful. I think, again, for you, just being patient, don't fill in the blank right away until you read the whole context, and then after you've read all the bits, the clues in the back half of the sentence and everything else, then you can fill in the blank.
Okay,
Okay?
perfect.
Okay, what else can I help you with in your
Um,
session?
I was practicing the GRE questions, and I feel the ones that I usually get wrong are the ones with the inequalities. Like if not, like I can never finish them on time. I always left a few blank. I think, even when I took the GRE, I left a bunch of them blank. I couldn't finish. I wasn't fast enough.
Okay. So
Um,
give me some examples, or if you can.
so
Yeah.
well, this one is one that I know would have gotten if I had more time, but and so I wanted to maybe find a strategy of how to do it a little bit faster. It said for which of the following conditions MP plus NP square is odd.
Like that?
Yes.
So when is MP plus MP squared odd?
Yes, and I have A through H options.
Wow. Okay, so let's hold off a minute. And what makes a number odd?
So it's an odd times an odd.
Right. So this is 6. That's not good. This is 4. That's not good. And this is 9. Yay! So that means both of these have to be odd.
Correct.
Okay. So, oh, wait a minute.
Well, no, one of them would have to be the product of one of them odd and one even, right?
That's interesting. So when you're adding, you see what I'm doing here? I don't actually know these rules, so I always figure. I mean, I do know them, but I
Yeah.
say that I don't have them memorized because I want to show you how you can solve for it on the test. So here we go. The only way to get an odd when you add is you have one even and one odd. Wow. Okay. So either MP is odd or MP squared is odd, but not both, right?
Correct.
Okay. So how do we make MP odd?
So either M has to be even or P has to be, or M has to be even and P has to be odd, or
Is
M
that right?
has to be odd and P even.
Okay. You said either M is even
Oh no
and
no no! I'm sorry. To be odd, to be odd, both of them have to be odd.
both of them have to be odd. Great. Do you see how quickly you got it when I started writing real numbers?
Yes.
Do that. Don't
Okay.
try to figure out variables in the abstract because it's too hard. I have trouble with it. And I
Okay.
wouldn't. Okay, so write real numbers. You'll see it right away. You'll be like, oh wait, no, that's not it. It has to be M is odd and P is odd. Okay?
Okay.
But what's the problem with that? If
Then I have to check that the other one they would have to make that one even.
and that's not going to work. If
Um,
MP
well,
squared,
it's NP squared. I don't know if you
M or N?
NP squared. So N we don't know about. So if
So
that has to, if that
it's
has to.
M like monkey
Mhm.
P plus November P squared?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
So the
Okay.
third variable kind of I feel like if
So then that could work. if n is even, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way. So either m is odd, p is odd, and n is even, right? So that's one way.
Yes.
Or or np squared is odd. So how do I make np squared odd?
So NP squared would be odd um, if N and P are odd.
Great, great. But if that happens, what does m have to be?
Then M has to be even.
Great. So you can either have m and p be odd and n is even, or you can have m be odd. Sorry, m be even and the other two are odd. Those are the only two ways. That's it. You're done.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I think I got so overwhelmed when I saw A through H. I was like, how am I going to check each one of these answers? And I tried doing that.
Yeah. Don't do that. Do the problem before you get to the answer choices, like we just did, and then go match the solution to the answer choices.
Yes.
So that's one strategy. Sometimes the answer choices will be very easy or like easily checkable, and then you want to start with the answer choices. But for this one, it helps to really sort through, figure out the answers ahead of time.
And it makes sense.
Yeah. Do you notice the numbers that I used?
Yes, they're very small, simple numbers.
Very small, simple numbers. Don't make it hard on yourself. Don't make it hard on yourself, and don't try to like muse about the meaning of being odd or the meaning of being even, because it's too much. It's too hard, and it doesn't help you go fast. You got to go fast, and you go fast. You use small, simple numbers. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Great.
Now there was another question like that. I got it right, but I think I was a little slow, and I think it was like, if B is greater than A, no, actually, if B is greater than A but less than 0 or something like that. So I feel like, whenever I have questions, that might have not been the question. I think, it was something like that. So I was plugging in numbers, and I plugged numbers like 2, but I feel that whenever I have negative numbers, like, is it wise to always plug in like an integer and a fraction as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
-2.5 maybe.
Okay.
That's usually what I do, but nothing much more complicated. Sometimes I'll use -1/4, but that's it.
Okay. Alrighty. And could we do one more question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the other question that, and this one it gave me, I don't think I had enough. I saw the timer, it was going into the red, so I was like, so I felt rushed. But it was, so this one said, if x squared times y is greater than 1, and x squared times y squared is between, so it's greater than -1 but less than 0.
Like that?
Yes. Well, yeah, 0 was to the right and -1 was to the left, but yes, but same meaning.
Okay.
And then inequalities were obviously like.
Well, that is not possible. I don't think you can use anything for x and y that will make that negative.
Well, and then it said, and the options were x times y is greater than 0, x is greater than 0, is x less than 0 but greater than -1, or is x less than -1 and y less than 0?
Well, here's my thing, Savani. I don't think so x squared, can you make that negative?
No.
No. Y squared, can you make that negative?
No.
No. So you're going to have a positive times a positive number. There's no way it can be less than 0.
I'm pretty sure that's what, unless I copied this wrong, but that's what it said.
Well, then there's no answer. Then there's no solution. So you cannot ever have something squared and have it be.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
They're not going to ask you about imaginary numbers. So if 3i squared, um,
but
negative 3, but we're not going to ask you about that.
yeah, but like when we're looking at this, if they just ask about like x could still be negative, right?
No, because x squared is not negative.
Oh, well, you said the second thing. Okay, yes, yes, yes. I see what you're saying. The second statement does not make sense
Right. There's
because
no
because
no number
it
for
mhm.
x, y makes any sense.
All right, I got to go back and look at that question exactly. What? Yeah, you're right. Okay, I have to go find that question.
Okay, yeah, let me know. I'm curious about it now.
Okay, yeah, I'll find out. So, okay.
Cool.
Alrighty. So I don't have, I think it'll take me a little while to like, I just wrote it down. I didn't take a picture of the question. So I'm gonna, I guess for the next,
Yeah, for the next office hours, just send whatever you have. Send them, even if it's just a few minutes before the office hours. If it's more in advance, that's great. But even if it's a few minutes, I can get it, and we can work from those questions. I can pull it up
perfect.
on the screen. So that's the ideal. And then I also have an idea of, let's say, God forbid, someone else came to office hours. I have an idea of like what each of you is struggling with, so I can sequence the questions. So that's really, really helpful for me. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I think just keep at it. I think you're in a pretty good spot relative to the rest of the class and relative to a lot of people I help. You're always responsive during class, and you get a ton of the questions correct, and you don't seem to be struggling with the basics like some people. And so I think you're well on your way. You just have to implement the system, keep coming to office hours, keep asking questions, and let me know whatever else I can help with.
Perfect. So I wanted to be able to, I think I wanted to schedule a couple of GREs. I wanted to take one, I think, the end of September, one probably like in October, at least just to be able to see, how the scores were. Like, what do you think is the best way to go about those? I'm just, I'm a little bit nervous about taking the test.
I would take some practice tests because they're cheaper and and they'll give you the same feedback. It's like, oh, I need to improve here or here. If you can create an artificial test environment where it is as close as possible to the test environment, but without spending all that money to, go to the ETS testing center, then that's better because then you can directly after the test you can review all the questions and then you can see exactly what you're getting right and wrong. Um, I'm a big fan of taking the test as few times as possible and then just doing really well.
Okay.
So when you take it, that way you don't have any trauma. The test is not a scary thing. It's just something you've done many times and gotten better and better and better at. And then when you walk in and do it, you just knock it out of the park.
Okay. So when I took it this first time around, I didn't really have time to practice. I think, a week before, and I know you said this last night, you can't prepare like a month before and be ready to like, but I got the Kaplan book, that's what I had, and I took 2 tests there. And, I timed myself, and in both of those tests, I did a lot better than my actual score on the GRE, and I didn't run out of time, so I found the test, like, for the quantitative part, for the GRE, I didn't finish. I think I still had like 5 questions left for my last section, and for every section, there were a few that I didn't finish.
On the actual test?
Yeah, on the actual test. Yeah, on the actual, like when I took the practice, the Kaplan. Then somebody was like, well, Kaplan is not a good book to have. Like it's maybe not the best. So I was curious about, what would be something that is as close to as the real GRE, like when it comes to like difficulty level.
Well, Yeah, so Kaplan does tend to sandbag a little bit. They tend to, give you a higher score. Ready4 won't do that, and the regular GRE book won't do that either. So use those two materials and you'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking of taking, the jury book, but we're doing a lot of the practice questions, like from the, I think, practice tests. So I think, I won't have a complete test that I can practice on.
Yeah. Does ETS give you a full practice test? I think they do.
I think they do. Like, I double check. I didn't do their practice test, so I gotta double check what materials I was struggling. I think I booked the test 2 weeks before I actually took it. So like this time I have to be a little more careful, and maybe I'll just register for one and see what resources they give me.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that. Also, I think Ready4 should give you a full practice test. If they don't, send me an email, I'll forward it to Julie, and we'll get you a full practice test. That'll be much more like the real thing. Okay?
Okay, yeah, just because I think I did download the Jerry the app before,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't think last night I just discovered the flashcards, and I think I saw a test there. So I think it was the first time that I saw it. I never really noticed it, so I don't know if it's new.
No, it's been there. So we definitely, like, having a full practice test is that's part of the deal. That's part of what you get, and that's
Okay,
important
all right.
to do that.
And when
So
do you think I should take that test? Like, after we're done with like all the lessons, so I'm kind of saving it. I don't want to use it up.
you should you should be taking as many practice tests as you can.
Okay.
So don't wait. Just
All right.
do it right away, and then if you need more practice tests, we'll give you more practice tests.
All right, then I'll do one this weekend, I guess.
Great.
There's one every weekend.
Great idea.
Perfect.
All right, honey. Thank you so much, and we'll see
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yeah, of course. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, see you tomorrow night. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.